How to build a personal brand that opens doors. Level B1. Intermediate. A personal brand is not a logo, a slogan, or a polished Instagram feed. It is the quiet and consistent story people remember about you, even when you are not in the room. A great personal brand is not created overnight. It grows through actions, values, voice, and presence. In the modern world, opportunities do not always go to the most talented or the hardest working. They often go to the most visible. Many people work for years, develop skills, and build experience, yet remain unnoticed because no one knows who they are or what they represent. A personal brand changes this. It makes your identity clear, your strengths understandable, and your intentions visible. To build a personal brand, you must first understand yourself. You cannot present a message to others if you do not know who you are. Personal branding is not pretending or inventing a character. It is choosing which part of your true self becomes the focus. Maybe you are creative, calm, analytical, humorous, or supportive. Whatever you are, your brand must reflect it honestly, or people will feel a disconnect. Authenticity is not a trend, it is the foundation of trust. A brand becomes powerful when your actions start matching your message. If you speak about discipline but constantly arrive late, the message breaks. If you present yourself as a creative thinker but never create, the identity remains empty. A brand is not words, it is proof. When people see consistency between your image and your behavior, doors open naturally. You do not have to push them. Sometimes people believe a brand must be loud. They think they must post daily, share constantly, and make every thought public. But true branding is not noise. It is clarity. Even if you appear rarely, your presence must be recognizable. One clear message repeated calmly is stronger than 1,000 scattered attempts to impress. In the digital world, visibility is not only online. You carry your brand into meetings, conversations, emails, and even silence. The tone of your responses, the way you listen, the respect you show, and the patience you offer all become part of the identity others attach to you. A personal brand is not built only on what you say, but on what you allow others to feel in your presence. Confidence plays a central role. Not the confidence that shouts, but the kind that stands firmly. When you believe in the value of your work, others begin to believe in it too. Confidence does not ask for attention. It asks for space and uses that space wisely. People remember not only your accomplishments, but the way you carry them. The most challenging part of personal branding is deciding what not to show. Not every thought must be shared. Not every project must be public. The strength of a brand lies in focus. If you try to be everything, you become nothing. Specialization creates identity. You become the writer who can simplify complex things, the designer who creates comfort with color, the teacher who explains with calm clarity. People follow what they can understand, and identity becomes magnetic when it is simple. Your voice is another essential element. It is not whether you speak loudly or softly, formally or casually. It is the feeling people receive from your communication. Warmth, humor, seriousness, precision, each style builds trust differently. A brand that opens doors is one that feels safe and reliable. When people know what to expect from you, they come closer without hesitation. Social platforms change constantly, but human attention does not. People will always be drawn to someone who expresses themselves with honesty and care. They will remember kindness longer than style, consistency longer than trends, quality longer than quantity. Your brand is not a competition. It is a long-term relationship between you and the world. The key is patience. A personal brand is like a plant. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you allow it to grow at its natural pace. If you force it, it bends. If you ignore it, it dries. But if you treat it with steady attention, it becomes strong enough to withstand wind and time. A brand that opens doors does not only tell people what you do, it shows them who you are. Authenticity does not mean sharing everything, it means sharing the right things. You do not need to perform perfection. You only need to embody your values and let them appear in your work and words. Personal branding is not a mask. It is a mirror. It reflects your strengths in a way that allows the world to recognize and respect them. When you no longer chase attention but attract it naturally through clarity and character, the door opens, and not because you knock, but because you are already expected. Visibility without depth is noise. Depth without visibility is silence. A personal brand must balance both. You cannot hide your work and expect opportunities to arrive, yet you also cannot speak endlessly without substance. The world notices those who know when to show up and when to listen. Your brand becomes truly powerful when people begin to associate your name with a feeling. Calm, clarity, honest advice, creative solutions, warm communication, whatever it is, it should appear naturally. You do not push the feeling. You express it through consistent presence. If you try too hard to be memorable, you become artificial. If you allow your strengths to unfold gradually, you become recognizable without effort. Reputation is the invisible half of your brand. It forms in conversations you never hear, in opinions shared behind doors you do not open. It grows slowly and silently, but it shapes the opportunities that appear in your life. A polished profile can impress for a moment, but a trustworthy reputation lasts for years. When people know you are reliable, professional, and respectful, they recommend you even when you are not asking. This is why every interaction matters. A simple reply, a polite gesture, a thoughtful email, they build your identity more than any tagline. Your brand is not constructed through big announcements. It is built in hundreds of small moments that feel genuine. People remember not just your skills, but how you made their workday easier, how you listened without rushing, how you offered support when others ignored them. You do not need to be perfect. In fact, perfection can be harmful to a brand. When everything appears too polished, people stop believing in it. Authentic imperfection creates space for connection. A personal brand opens doors when it feels human. Someone with strengths, limits, goals, and growth. Audiences do not trust flawless images. They trust individuals who evolve in public with honesty and maturity. One of the greatest risks is comparison. When you look at others, you might feel your voice is too quiet, your style too simple, or your achievements too small. But comparison removes identity. Your brand should not echo another person's energy. It should reflect your own. If someone else communicates loudly, that does not mean you must do the same. If they chase trends, that does not mean you should run alongside them. A strong brand stands still when others rush and speaks softly when others shout. You must also allow time for discovery. Not every stage of your growth needs an audience. Some skills must be built privately before becoming public. Some ideas need quiet development before becoming visible. The mistake many people make is sharing too early, before the idea has shape. When you present yourself with clarity instead of confusion, people respond with confidence instead of hesitation. A personal brand is not created for applause. It is created for alignment. When your work reflects your identity, the right opportunities find you naturally. You do not need everyone to notice you, only those whose values match yours. A brand that opens doors is not universal. It is specific enough to attract the right people and polite enough to let the wrong ones pass. Communication style is the bridge between inner identity and outer presence. Even simple messages can become part of a brand when they carry intention. A thoughtful thank you, a timely response, a calm explanation. These are subtle parts of your voice. You do not have to speak constantly to stay present. You need to speak meaningfully when you do. Offline behavior matters as much as online design. How you finish tasks, how you show respect, how you keep promises, all of it becomes your brand's foundation. Many people believe branding is visual, but in reality, it is ethical. A logo attracts attention, but integrity keeps it. In time, your name becomes your introduction. If you maintain consistency, people will speak of you before you arrive. They will describe your strengths clearly because you have shown them repeatedly without needing to exaggerate. This is the moment when doors open not because you push, but because you are already trusted to walk through. Your personal brand also needs boundaries. Not every request deserves your immediate energy. When you try to please everyone, you lose identity. A brand that knows its direction says no with calm certainty. People respect someone who chooses intentionally rather than someone who accepts everything in fear of being unnoticed. As your brand grows, opportunities will increase. Some will be beneficial, others distracting. Recognition should not replace intention. You began building a brand not to be liked by everyone, but to create clarity about who you are and what you offer. Success arrives when you stay committed to that intention, even as your audience expands. A personal brand that opens doors is not loud, aggressive, or anxious. It is steady. It knows its voice and uses it carefully. It trusts silence when needed and participation when appropriate. It listens as much as it speaks. In the end, your brand is not something you perform, it is something you inhabit. When your inner values and outer expression match, people feel it immediately. You no longer need to chase attention. You simply arrive, and the room understands who you are. This is the quiet power of personal branding. Not to impress, but to be unmistakably yourself, clearly, consistently, and confidently. When that alignment becomes visible, doors open not by force, but by recognition.